So here we go. This is the learning outcome. At the end of this session, students will be able to write effective resumes for campus placement interviews or job interviews. Dear learners, a resume is an important document related to your job interview or your career. So it is always important to write an effective resume, because it is always said that an effective resume makes a first good impression on an interviewer or the interview panel. So it's always important that we take due care to write a good resume which is effective in portraying your profile. Now, today, let us understand what a resume is. So this is a question for you to think over, because this term is not new to you. So I request you to pause this video for some time and try to answer this question. I would request you to write the answer in your course journal and then resume the video. Welcome back, and now we will try to answer this question, that is, what is a resume? Now here's the definition of a resume. A resume is a 1 or 2 page formal document that job hopefuls submit to hiring managers and employment recruiters as a means of itemizing their work experience, educational background, and special skills. Successful resumes entice potential employers to invite applicants to interview for the position. So this is the definition. In short, a resume is a 1 or 2 page formal document that you send to employment recruiters for getting a job interview. Now let us understand the difference between a resume and a CV. So every now and then students come across these two terms, resume and CV, and so it becomes very important for us today to differentiate a resume from a CV. So here we go. A Brit applies with a CV and an American with a resume. So this is nothing but it is a cultural difference, because language is a part of a culture, and a Britisher, when he applies for a job, he applies with a CV, and an American, when he applies for a job, he applies with a resume. So in short, Britishers call this document as a CV and Americans call this document as a resume. So it's a cultural difference. It is what language you are following. If you are following British English, then it's better you call it as a CV, and if you are following American English or American culture, or you term it as a resume. So it's a cultural difference. A CV, or a curriculum vitae, which means course of life in Latin, is an in-depth document that can be laid out over 2 or more pages, and it contains a high level of detail about your achievements, a great deal more than just a career biography. The CV covers your education as well as any other accomplishments like publications, awards, honors, etc. The document tends to be organized chronologically and should make it easy to get an overview of an individual's full working career. A CV is static and doesn't change for different positions. The difference would be in the cover letter. So this is all about CV. Now let us understand what a resume is. A resume is a concise document, typically not longer than 1 page or 2 pages sometimes, as the intended reader or the HR manager will not dwell on your document for very long. The goal of a resume is to make an individual stand out from the competition. The job seeker should adapt the resume to every position he or she applies for. It is in the applicant's interest to change the resume from one job application to another and to tailor it to the needs of the specific post. A resume doesn't have to be ordered chronologically. It doesn't have to cover your whole career like a CV, and is a highly customizable document. So this was about resume. Now let us understand the difference between a resume and a CV. As stated, Three major differences between CVs and resumes are the length, the purpose, and the layout. A resume is a brief summary of your skills and experience over 1 or 2 pages. A CV is a more detailed and can stretch well beyond 2 pages. The resume will be tailored to each position, whereas the CV is static and any changes will be in the cover letter. A CV has a clear chronological order listing the whole career of the individual, whereas a resume's information can be shuffled around to best suit the applicant. I would say the main difference between a resume and a CV is that a CV is intended to be a full record of your career history, and a resume is a brief, targeted list of skills and achievements. Now let us do the revision. So this is the difference between a CV and a resume in short. A CV is long. Normally it is more than 2 pages. A CV covers your entire career, and a CV is static. Whereas on the other hand, a resume is short. It is 1 or 2 pages. So a resume is not more than 1 or 2 pages. For a resume, there is no particular format rule, and as I said earlier, a resume is a highly customizable document. You can change it according to different job requirements. Now let us understand the usage around the world. A resume is the preferred application document in the US and Canada. Americans and Canadians would only use a CV when applying for a job abroad or if searching for an academic or research-oriented position. In the UK, Ireland, and New Zealand, a CV is used in various contexts. The CV prevails in mainland Europe. In Australia, India, and South Africa, the terms resume and CV are used interchangeably. The term resume is used more for jobs in the private sector, and CV is more commonplace when applying for public service positions. And as I said, normally in India, people write a CV when they are applying for an academic position. Now let us look at a model resume. This resume is of Naman Jain. He is from Electronics and Telecommunication Engineering from Walchand Institute of Technology, Solapur. He used this resume for his job interview for Infosys Limited and is selected for Infosys. So let us have a look at it. Now this is the resume. Now as you can see, this is a 1-page document. So this is a 1-page short document. At the top you can see the name in bold, then his branch or stream, that is Electronics and Telecommunication Engineering, and then he has stated his career objective, then the academic details. So the academic details are listed in the reverse chronological order, starting with B, then T, SE and FE, then his HSC, and then his SSC, that is 10th. Then personal details, and then contact details. He has also mentioned his LinkedIn profile here. Then he has mentioned skills. He has divided the skills into 2 parts, technical skills and soft skills. Then about the project. So he has mentioned his 3rd year project. Then he has mentioned about his internship, and then about the certifications. In the end, he has mentioned about his achievements and activities. And as you can see, he has highlighted the keywords because this becomes easy for the HR manager to glance through. So this is a 1-page resume written by a fresher while applying for a job in the IT sector.